Greetings, everyone. Great to be with you once again. Thanks so much for joining us. And thank you for all you do by the way of learning, growing, and serving. Our presentation today is entitled The Color Organs of the Master of the Rose Cross. A key teaching tool of the Rosicrucian weekly studies and exercises is the cosmic keyboard, an exemplification of the great interconnecting octaves of vibration within us and throughout the cosmos. A remarkable demonstration of these resonant relationships and sympathetic correspondences are the color organs designed and created by Past Imperator H. Lewis. We'll consider their inspiration, construction, and demonstration of Rosicrucian laws and principles. To begin this matter, there's a particular slide and sounds that I want to share with you that relate in a way to this matter. So we'll get that up for you. You'll see before you now a rather remarkable and beautiful image of the planet Saturn. Befittingly, as we appreciate Earth this day, Earth Day, we can think of Earth and our temple of the Earth in the context of its other planets in the solar system. Indeed, each planet is said in mystical and spiritual traditions of having influences of a subtle nature. These planetary influences of Saturn are associated, for example, with introspection or inner work. In alchemical symbolism, Saturn is associated with lead and the prima materia, that is the prime matter, essential to the transmutation of lead into gold, or spiritually, the transformation of our base nature to our fully realized nature. Intriguing about the planet Saturn, of course, is its rings. The humankind, or we've increasingly understood with closer and closer examination, including NASA's Cassini spacecraft probe. Related to this, and an initiative with NASA has been what's called sonification. And sonification takes a variety of forms. It can be done, for example, for data analysis, that you can listen to the sounds of data and detect certain things. One of my colleagues, who's a reference librarian at the university where I work, uses data sonification while he's on the front desk answering questions from library users. He can hear in the background various sounds of what's going on in the various parts of the library, where things are being downloaded, where things are being taken out. He can find if anything needs particular attention just by listening to the sonification of that information or data. Similarly, we're going to have a chance to listen to Saturn in a particular way that I'll show to you now. Having been inspired by the sounds of Saturn and the beautiful view of it, we'll have a period of meditation. We will ascend from the planet Earth on this Earth Day and pass the other planets, including Saturn, to the heights of the celestial sanctum. So at this time, I invite you to get comfortable, whether you're lying down or seated in your chair, and just enjoy the gentle rhythms of your breath as you close your eyes and turn inward. And you can concentrate on your breath, breathing a little deeper than usual, I suggest, to the degree comfortable, but also I invite you to extend your exhalation longer than your inhalation, and you'll feel the stimulation of the great vagus nerve. Which each extended exhalation longer than inhalation, you find that there's increasing calm and tranquility. the vagus nerve working with the autonomic nervous system to achieve what's known technically as autonomic balance. In our weekly lessons of the Rosicrucian order M work, we study the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, various exercises associated with them. We come to know more and more what's traditionally known as the microcosm, the mini universe that we are, in the holy temple of our body, and how it mirrors the macrocosm of the cosmos all about us. The alluded to term of the cosmic keyboard is something that Rosicrucians apply through the great sea of vibrations. All is vibration, and the higher and higher octaves we learn to play in mastering our lives, know how to access a tremendous range of vibrations through Rosicrucian exercises and the practice of meditation. Similar to what we're doing right now. If you find your mind wandering while you meditate, I invite you just to bring it back gently to concentration on the breath, the incoming and outgoing of the breath. Apply the law of concentration, but also the law of duality with the incoming and outgoing of the breath, the two poles of our breathing process. But in the way we'll come into that increased calmness and hence unity, or applying the law of unity in this fashion. Let's just continue to let go and be receptive. At the same time, we're not trying to avoid anything. In fact, meditation is a profound act of non-avoidance. But whatever may come to the mind, just go back to the discipline of the breath. Anything of particular value will come back to after the period of meditation, feeling all the more strengthened and competent, rested and re-energized. While we concentrate on the breath in a way, we're stilling ourselves, anchoring ourselves in the deepest part of our nature. Because in the outer silence, the meditation period, there's a tremendous amount going on in terms of harmonization, healing, making whole. These and many other things are going on through a dynamic action, known to Rosicrucians by the term harmonium, a harmony of all senses of our being, the physical, the mental, emotional, the psychic, and the overall spiritual. Let's enjoy the process. The body enjoys like being relaxed. The mind and the heart enjoy being relaxed. Our whole being feels a tonic effect by being calm and relaxed. In a certain way, it may appear that we're meditating each on our own, but in a way, we're mutually supporting each other, both in an implied way, but also through what Rosicrucians refer to as the one soul, which we all partake of and are connected through. And as one is lifted up, as we lift ourselves up, we help lift all up. as they do for us. Let's enjoy this mini retreat. Feel the increasing wholeness, increasing release of energy by being more ourselves. Releasing the energy which is being taken up by being who we are not. It's all part of the great process of the mystical path, the full maturation of ourselves, the full growing up of ourselves, the full healing of ourselves, so we can assist in the healing or making whole of others. We'll continue our meditation period now by applying the instructions of the booklet Liber 777. That'll give you resources on towards the end of this presentation. We'll ascend to the heights of the celestial sanctum, which I'll describe now. But first, we'll further apply the law of purification as we've been doing through our breathing exercise by using the following prayer and invocation. May the divine essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that I may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in pureness and in worthiness. So mote it be. Now let us sense ourselves and picture ourselves rising up, using all our psychic faculties and our full imaginative capacity to rise up over the building where we are, up over our neighborhood, up over our village or town or city or local geographic area, rising up higher and higher, faster and faster, enjoying the ascent. And now up over our province or state, and even our country or nation, and even our continent, and now our hemisphere. And then if we keep up rising up faster and faster, we see the beautiful blue jewel of the earth. And we look up and we see other parts of the solar system, including the planet Saturn with its rings that we were examining earlier, the great fiery ball of the sun, the huge planet Jupiter, the smaller planets in their beautiful elliptical orbits, moving in harmony together, each with its subtle planetary influence for us. As we rise higher and higher past the outer reaches of the solar system, passing now myriad stars and asteroids and nebula, the interstellar gases connecting the stars and the galaxies. We sense that we're in a great galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, with one of its great arms, which moves about its center. Let's continue to rise up higher and higher, faster and faster within our local galaxy. Past myriad stellar phenomena, the quasars, the pulsars, black holes helping balance the universe. We rise higher and higher and pass out even now from our Milky Way galaxy. Look back at its beautiful rotating action as we look up and see other galaxies and stars and nebula. We rise higher and higher, way beyond the speed of light, applying now the law of correspondence. As we rise up higher and higher into the cosmos, we'll go deeper and deeper within ourselves, the very presence of the divine within, our true nature and guide. We rise higher and higher, enjoying the vastness of the universe, hearing the harmony of the spheres, the great interplay between sound and color, music, and visual impressions that we're studying this day. As we rise higher and higher, sensing the suggestion of the infinite by its vastness, knowing that there's even greater vastness within us, that this outer vastness mirrors. We come increasing contact with and rapport with through meditation that we're doing now. At a certain point, I think you may sense that the entire universe is rotating about a great cosmic axis, spoken of since ancient times by mystics and philosophers. And we sense the presence of that great cosmic axis that mirrors the axis of our spine as a microcosm, and all that's rotating about it. Speed towards its midpoint, the very center of the universe, the very center of the cosmos. And when you reach that point, you can slow up and let's take in awe this stupendous action of the rotating universe and the great harmony and system and order of it all, the great range of vibrations and the different octaves of the cosmic keyboard that we're increasingly sensitive to now. And let us follow further the instructions of the booklet Liber 777. I invite you now to sense or visualize, mentally create your celestial sanctum, your personal sacred space. It may be an inspiring temple, familiar with back on Earth, or maybe an inspiring place in nature on Earth, such as a high vantage point from a hill or a mountain, suggesting the expanded view that we have from the heights of the celestial sanctum. Or maybe by a seashore or lakeshore with the waves lapping in, and we sense the vibrations of the waves suggestive of all vibrations throughout the cosmos, acting in harmony together. Feeling the different impressions, the sights, the sounds, various feelings, the spiritual upliftment, the exhilaration of being at this high point of consciousness, at the center of the cosmos, at the center of your being. Feel in your mental creation. Make it real, make it vital. Feel the specialness of being at this place, the tremendous love and well-being. You may wish to picture as well others on this conference call with us. Grand Lodge and Supreme Grand Lodge officers of the Rosicrucian Order M are conducting a special ritual mystical convocation. The visible and invisible masters, inspiring stained glass windows or other artwork showing mystical and Rosicrucian laws and principles, possibly incense burning, suggesting a rising up, a transmutation that we've just undertaken and rising to the heights of the celestial sanctum. Once you've filled in your mental creation, we'll soon release it. Now let us get ready to release our mental creation by saying, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be. Just let the visualization, the mental creation, go through the subconscious mind into the cosmic mind, and let us dwell in peace and apply the law of concentration to act on fulfilling our visualization, our mental creation. We can do this by dwelling in silence, feeling all there is to feel, indeed feeling all that can be felt, and surrendering to the divine within. As we continue our meditation from the heights of the celestial sanctum, I invite you to undertake another spiritual operation of the work and worship of the Rosicrucian or Amorc. I invite you to participate with me in the work of the Silent Council, in conjunction to the Council of Solace of the Rosicrucian or Amorc. By radiating love and well-being to all those who've petitioned the Grand Lodge of the Rosicrucian or Amorc for guidance and healing. And by radiating love and well-being to all those who petitioned the affiliated bodies of the Rosicrucian or Amorc for guidance and healing. And radiating love and well-being to all those you know who are in need of guidance and healing. And finally, radiating love and well-being to all sentient beings throughout the cosmos who are in need of guidance and healing. Let this love and well-being flow from your heart and your mind and the depths of your being. The great radiations going out, filling the cosmos. Going out at a tremendous rate, just like we rose up to the heights of the celestial sanctum at a tremendous speed. Enjoy the exhilaration of the flow of love and well-being. Knowing that healing forces are being channeled through you to all those in need, awakening the healing forces within them. For their guidance and healing, becoming whole. And just let the radiations flow, and at a certain point, I think you'll find that they'll speed up and you know you're reaching those in need. And that you'll no longer need to make any conscious effort. Just let the flow continue. While we dwell in silence in cosmic attunement at the heights of the celestial sanctum. Soon we'll formally conclude this period of the work of the Silent Council in conjunction with the Council of Solace, but we'll continue our meditation period a while longer. Be assured that these radiations of love and well-being will continue from us as a way of life, as part of our mission in life. I invite you to say with me now as we conclude our period of sending a metaphysical aid, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done, so mote it be. Now let us continue to meditate at the heights of the celestial sanctum, feeling the increasing presence of the divine within. Increasingly experience what Rosicrucians refer to as the cosmic. It is the universal intelligence back of the cosmos and all natural and spiritual laws. Many that we've been applying during our meditation period. I invite you at this time, just as we radiated the love and well-being out to the far reaches of the cosmos, to expand your mind to fill the cosmos, encompassing the cosmos, taking in the entirety of the cosmos. Becoming the cosmic. experiencing as the cosmic experiences, assuming the cosmic now. Soon we'll ascend from the heights of the celestial sanctum, descending down back to the temple of the earth. Before we do that, I invite you to apply a further Rosicrucian law, that of the law of gratitude, which intensifies the law of cosmic attunement that we've been applying throughout this period of meditation. To express our thanks to all those who have taught us well, our gratitude and thanks to all those who have loved us well, our gratitude and thanks to all those who have sacrificed well on our behalf. Appreciative of their example. Suggesting of the greatest example of all through the divine within, the master within, our true nature and guide in life. That we increasingly identify with and become one with through our Rosicrucian studies, practicing meditation and other exercises, and in service. Now let us begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum, moving at a tremendous speed, way beyond the speed of light as we transcend space and time, past the myriad stars and stellar phenomena, the quasars and the pulsars, the black holes helping balance the universe, past nebula and galaxies, experiencing the music of the spheres, the great harmony of the spheres, the tremendous system and order of the universe. And we see in the distance our local home, the Milky Way galaxy. As we come to it, we plunge back into the great arm where we dwell, past myriad stars and quasars and pulsars and rogue planets and asteroids and comets, enjoying the exhilaration of the descent as we see in the distance the beautiful elliptical orbits, the planets of our solar system. And we see once again the great fiery ball of the sun, our local star, and the temple of the earth. As we come to the hemisphere where we left off, our continent, our great nation or country, our province or state, our county, or now our local geographic area or village or town or city, and back to our neighborhood. I invite you to say with me the following prayer and invocation. May the God of my heart sanctify this attunement of self with the celestial sanctum. So mote it be as we continue downward to the building where we left off and back in the room, however we're situated, seated or lying down or otherwise. Feeling recharged, remade, refreshed, reborn, re-energized. Feeling much more ourselves, all the more competent, all the more ready for the work and worship of the Rosicrucian order, Amorth, now and always. You may wish to stretch by moving your toes and fingers and arching your back, stretching your legs, wherever you wish. And open your eyes and we'll continue our presentation and work together this day. Thank you. Now we'll see before us now a celebrated painting entitled The Cosmic Keyboard by the Rosicrucian artist Nicomedes Gomez. It dates from 1961. And we've talked about it at various times on these Rosicrucian teleconferences. You notice one of the dramatic features of this painting is there's a keyboard. And that's a clue to its title, The Cosmic Keyboard. That there's the various octaves of vibration extending out one after the other to higher and higher rates of vibration as the vibrations double from one octave to another, from one A note to a higher A note to an even higher A note to an even higher A note. And those notes have a great correspondence that can link sounds and colors, as suggested in this painting we're seeing before us. We see the human as the microcosm that we are, but reflected in the entire macrocosm. We see the earth, but we see also the cosmos and many other intriguing things of an enriching nature. This is part of the inspiration of this concept of the color organs that Past Imperator H. Spencer Lewis had. He created various demonstrations, both of a physical and non-physical nature, to illustrate to students and to the world Rosicrucian laws and principles. And the color organ was a great exemplification of the cosmic keyboard. In this spirit, one of the forerunners in the creation of a color organ by H. Spencer Lewis was actually developed and took place in what you see before you now, a drawing of the first Rosicrucian Order Amark Lodge in New York City, depicted in 1915 in this drawing, colored in. We know that over history, there's been great interest in relationship between sound and color. We know the traditional Rosicrucian, for example, Sir Isaac Newton, was very interested in the scale of music, but also in the scale of colors with his work with color, his renowned work in optics, the acoustic scale and the chromatic scale. We know, though, even before that, going back in ancient times, Aristotle and others were very intrigued on the idea that possibly sounds could be transformed and seen, and vice versa. I know some of you may experience synesthesia. It's something that's been known since ancient times, but increasingly studied. That is where our perceptual phenomena which may be stimulating one sense, such as, say, the sense of sight, or some other cognitive pathway. It leads to experiences of other senses. For example, not only seeing something visually, but also hearing it. Indeed, there's our renowned composer who, seeing the Grand Canyon, heard sounds that he then used for compose a work of music about the Grand Canyon, taking from what he was seeing through his experience of synesthesia. Now, people often have these in various forms, and not only sounds and colors, or um, but other the commonly labeled senses, um, such as the sense of touch, for example, but also other types of perception that can be uh, aroused. And this is something even through our lessons in the Rosicrucian order and our psychic experiences that we start to have increasing um, interconnections through the cosmic keyboard. In this regard, and in regard to the temple that you're seeing there before you of inspiring nature, we know that Past Imperator H. Spencer Lewis, as early as 1916, had been very fascinated by the relationship of the diatonic or musical scale and the chromatic scale, or that of color, as Sir Isaac Newton had been before him. And so he studied various references to it going back, as I mentioned, to the time of Aristotle, and he decided that he would construct some devices to illustrate this to Rosicrucian students in the world. And one of them was a demonstration that took place here in the scene before you in the Supreme Grand Lodge Temple, or the Supreme Temple in New York City. What Past Imperator H. Spencer Lewis did was that he took a large white opal globe, about 10 inches in diameter. And inside the globe, he tested various ways of doing this, but lighting incense to allowed it to burn until the air in the globe, which was prevented from escaping, was changed with the vibrations of the incense. And the globe was kept practically airtight thereafter. And it was placed, as you can see there, on the Shekinah associated with the altar in the centerpiece with the 3 tall candles are. And then you can see in the background there's an organ, and music was played by this Past Imperator on the sweet Mason and Hamlin organ that you see there. And there gradually appeared a faint light in the globe that was placed here in the center. And then its strength of the light increased as the volume of the music increased, until finally each note of the octave produced a different light. So this is a very early forerunner of the color organ, and a very intriguing experiment and demonstration of Rosicrucian laws and principles. In sort of a similar fashion, I want to mention to you some similar works that were going on in that first half of the 20th century, of which Past Imperator H. Spencer Lewis was a forerunner. There was what was known as the clavilux, as a keyboard for light. And you'll see its inventor here and a very close-up on its controls. And then a person playing this organ, but it was a silent organ. It was an organ that produced colors as suggested here. The images I've got before you here, I'll give you a resource on it after the main body of the presentation, is from a early Popular Mechanics magazine article on it. What was very intriguing about it was that it was done in silence, so there wasn't the sound. So it was, in that sense, there was a contemplative aspect of seeing light float before you. In fact, here's a recording that'll show you of the light formations of the clavilux. It's not moving at this point, but if you look at it, I think you'll find that there's an optical effect that it seems to have gradual shifting movement. It's a very intriguing optical effect. But let me play you a short excerpt of it that would appear when the clavilux is being played. Similar to this work, it actually predating it, and even earlier in the 20th century, we know that Past Imperator H. Spencer Lewis, after he did the experiment with the globe and the organ, he created a small color organ in New York City that he then demonstrated to students of the order and to certain selected members of the public that were quite learned in science and music. Later, in the 1930s, when H. Spencer Lewis was continuing as imperator at Rosicrucian Park in San Jose, California, he created another larger color organ known as the Luxotone that I'll give you resources on. And we don't have a physical recording of its actions, but we do have descriptions, particularly from a Rosicrucian Digest article that I'll give you resources for, dating from 1933. And we know that that it could also respond to people singing, including, for example, an opera singer. So there was the sounds of the organ were being transmitted in an electronic way, as well as sounds of the voice along a microphone onto a screen. And then there would be movements and shifts just like we saw. And from descriptions of it, for example, pieces of music that were specially selected that were inspired by the composer of a pastoral scene, or maybe a moonlit scene, or a scene by a seashore and so forth. Lo and behold, on the screen in Francis Bacon Auditorium, where it was set up in Rosicrucian Park, you would actually see pastoral scenes, or moonlit scenes, or scenes suggestive of what the composer had in mind. So there was a remarkable affinity in the conception of the inspired composer, how they translated it into notes and sounds, but also now through this creation, applying the cosmic keyboard and the correspondence of the octaves and the different notes and their resonances at higher and higher rates of vibration. Similar to this, over time, I'll show you a similar phenomena that now applies sound and color. Some of you may be familiar with various forms of computer software, such as Max MSP or the Cimascope that we're going to apply right now. We're going to play a piece of music that is by Claude Debussy, a traditional Rosicrucian, Clair de Lune. And we'll find that the computer software is being used to translate the notes into geometric shapes, but also into sounds. And to do this, there's various decisions to be made. In fact, one of the graduate students that I work with at the university, where I also work, was telling me yesterday about a computer science project that she did for her in her coursework, where they use Max MSP to take her recordings of a ukulele, which she plays, and others that she has to play. And they had to make decisions about, well, what do you do with the pitch or the frequency? And then what do you do with the timbre? And then what do you do with the volume or the loudness? And there's various correspondences numerically that she set up in computer programming to do something similar to what we're going to see here, but using the software known as Cimascope for Claude Debussy's Clair de Lune now. So let's enjoy and ponder. So we get a sense increasingly of how we live in a sea of vibrations and how there's different resonances connecting different forms of vibration. We had an experience of that when we were meditating and sensing our presence of the cosmos and the deep sense of all the different actions going on within ourselves, be it the heart, through our heart rate, the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, the nervous system, and so forth. Similarly, with this idea of the color organ, there's this idea of unity, interrelationships in all ways. In a similar spirit, I'll show you before you hear a form of the luxatone that would be along some lines similar to what the original ones that H. Spencer Lewis worked on. You'll see a triangular screen before you, and it was used then to convert portions of the audio spectrum into portions of the color light spectrum. And you'll see that there was a microphone that was used that a person could speak into, or a musical instrument could be played before. And colors would appear on the triangular white screen that's inverted there. And now, as we've mentioned, the primary purpose of this was to demonstrate the cosmic keyboard in our Rosicrucian teachings, and the relationship to musical notes in our harmonic correspondence to specific colors in higher octaves. And it's a highly innovative design that Past Imperator undertook. And inside the box that you'll see here in this form of a luxatone, though we know from the description of the earlier luxatone that dates from 1933 that there was quite involved mechanisms in it. They were specially designed through H. Spencer Lewis's extensive knowledge of Rosicrucian laws and principles, and also of electricity. But in this box that you'll see, particularly on the right there, you'll see that that there was a vacuum tubes and radio components, and there was also a red, blue, or green colored light bulb that would glow and be visible through the viewing screen. And so that the signal that would come through the microphone would then be transformed, and how it would light up, and to what degree of intensity, these three colored light bulbs. And we see how the primary colors are then being used. And we note that there was one primary detection channel or circuit. And when sound frequency was detected via the microphone, the circuit would measure the frequency and power the colored light bulbs in combination to mix the desired color. And these three bulbs represented the three primary colors from which all other colors can be mixed in varying intensities, and blended colors will appear on the screen. And we can see in there, in here, that there was the vacuum tubes and a large size transformer. Quite an ingenious device all around. Let us come back before we conclude then with the image of the cosmic keyboard, which when we pulls together all that we've been speaking about. So we've been thinking about the color organ designed by Past H. Spencer Lewis, some of its earlier history, some things that we're able to infer about its nature, and how it's one of the ways that Rosicrucians are very practical in demonstrating Rosicrucian laws and principles, just as we apply them through our daily and weekly lessons in the Rosicrucian teachings, and our various spiritual and mystical exercises, such as the meditation we did, and our visualization to create and make real. Just like we took something from a higher octave on the screen of our consciousness and manifested it through our visualization, our mental creation, for attuning with the cosmic, so too we can do that in various ways, like the color organ related sound and color. At this time, I'd like to invite the resources, Paula, to paste the resources for you in the chat. They'll be in 2 sections, and then also to upload the resources for you if you're so inclined in a PDF. The resources in the chat you won't be able to copy, but you can click the links. However, you can download the PDF document that will be in the chat for the resources for your further study on these matters, if you're so inclined, as well as the way that they're taken up in the various monographs that we study weekly as Rosicrucian students. By way of conclusion, I'd like to state and reiterate that a key teaching tool of the Rosicrucian weekly studies and exercises is the cosmic keyboard, an exemplification of the great interconnecting octaves of vibration within us and throughout the cosmos that we had an opportunity to experience through the slides that I showed you in their animations, but also during our meditation period. And a remarkable demonstration of these resonant relationships and sympathetic correspondences are the color organs designed and created by Past Imperator H. Lewis. And we've considered their inspiration, their construction, and demonstration of Rosicrucian laws and principles. And this adventure of an historic nature will help us realize anew today, all the more our way on the path of self-mastery, harmonious living, and in service. Thank you.